Right, so that's it, we're live.
Awesome.
Someone wants to paste the link in Discord. I will set that up on Twitter and Facebook.
I'd help if I wasn't muted. So the link to the stream.
Yeah.
There you
Beat me to it, scrub.
go. Sorry.
We'll put it in. Where are we? Where's the channel for streaming?
Does the menu there have sound?
It does, but I was clicked off it because I was posting in.
Right.
As soon as I click off it, it sort of cancels the sound out, kind of thing.
Gotcha.
But, hey
Put
Tim.
in notifications. Hey Tim.
Welcome to
Hello,
the
hello.
stream. We're just going to give it 4 or 5 minutes just to see how many we get in to say hello. God, it's always booming raining. It even rains in the menu, look.
Very true.
Next game's going to be set on like a tropical island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tropical implies rain, doesn't it? But you know what I mean.
A barren desert.
Yeah, that's it. We need to. It needs to be like a Conan Exiles kind of thing in the desert.
Mm. No moisture to be found. So I disappeared to get a drink before we started, and I just realised I've drunk it.
There you go.
Tim, I've just spotted your name in the backers. There you are, third column,
Oh yeah.
fourth name down.
Fourth down under kicks.
Yeah, thanks for your support, mate.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So the whole idea behind this stream is just going to be very chilled. Just ask us what you want, anything that you want to know about the game, anything about features coming up. We've got the whole team here with us. We've got the only person that isn't here is Chris, our 3D artist, but I'm sure he'll come along to one of the streams eventually. But we've got both our story artists, both developers, and we've also got our composer, our new team member, Laurie, and all of our moderators. I believe also all of our mods are here. So
Yep.
ask away, someone will answer your question.
Hey, Gabor?
Yeah, I was just wondering that.
Not sure
I hope we're pronouncing it right.
It's probably not worth pasting links to the website because it's slow. But yeah. Right. I'm just going to pour myself another coffee and we will get going.
That's good.
Could do with some casual lift music to have in the background while we're...
I mean, I'm pretty sure the main menu has some chill music.
Yeah, the music is playing. I've just got it turned down slightly. I'll tell you one thing that might be worth going through, Scrub, is while we wait for the game to load, is going through basically like we do in the team meetings, what we've done for this patch kind of thing.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, let me just grab, I'll just pour my coffee now, and yeah, we'll go over what we've done for this patch.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we'll start answering any questions anyone has.
I am gonna totally cheat and look at the patch notes though.
Yeah, do it, man. Do it, Christ. Right, so let's go back. This is part of the new. This is all new for the public alpha. Nice updated menu and scene in the background.
Yeah, it's nice to see some changes.
Got John in there, that's nice.
I think just the bike park next to the horse is my favourite.
Yeah.
Hey, Andalus.
Yeah, and the blood puddle.
Mm.
I had to get a blood puddle in there. Right, so Amy is still the only protagonist we can play at currently. But the other protagonists will be coming very soon. Very soon.
Hey, Christiana. / Dallas. What did your husband think of the game? Was he happy?
Multiplayer is on our radar for very soon. What you'll find first is we will end up releasing cooperative 4-player cooperative, which will be like single player mode, but you'll be able to play with 3 other friends, each as a different protagonist. And then dedicated multiplayer will come. It's definitely going to be a thing. We are partnered with GTX Gaming, that is supplying all our official service for us. So yeah, it won't be long, not too far down the line.
Hopefully that answers your question as well, Hack. So not too long. We don't know for definite, but not too long. It's going to be a big thing for us, so we definitely want to get it in as soon as we can. And the horse calmly eating some grass next to a bloody puddle. Yeah. Ogren James, do you know when the keys will be sent out for the backers? Really looking for the game. You should have had your key already. They all went out today if you bought a package that included the public alpha, which most of them did. So just double check your email that you had associated with Kickstarter and your junk emails, just in case. Should hopefully be in there somewhere. If not, message one of us and we'll sort it out. Same for Aim's son. Hi all, I'm from Germany. Key, but have not got the key in the mail. You should have. We've been through all of them today. That we do them. Ryan's done them all manually by hand, so there is always the chance we may have missed one. So if you can get on our Discord server and message us directly, we can look into it for you. But just double check your email address that you used for Kickstarter and your junk mail folder, just in case.
Yeah, any key support that you require, all I can suggest to you is either emailing team at jawsofextinction.com or jumping onto our Discord and actually talking to some of the moderators in there, or even some of the development team. But yeah, so any key requests, jump on Discord and ask there, because we want to try and keep this just to about the game.
I've put the email address for if you're having issues as team@jawsofextinction.com, just in case you're not a Discord user.
Right, so, okay, if I start pressing on, if you want to scrub, if you want
Go
to
for
start
it.
going through the things we've done, might we
Yeah,
raise
certainly.
some
Amy,
questions?
this is Sheriff Sen of the Eden Nadir Police Department.
Okay, well, I'll crack into some of the changes then.
Please be aware that I'm monitoring you via the
So,
STARP system on your
first things
grid,
first,
and immediately
there's
use
been
your
quite a few
vital fan
changes in this
location.
patch
I know
to
you're probably
the
disoriented.
aim down
You
sight,
need to
or
find your way
ADS.
to a safe place.
I think it was
I
introduced
can
the patch
explain more when
before
you're
this
there.
one,
North of your
or at least there were some major
position,
updates to it in the patch
Fishing
before this one.
But
And
beware.
we've kind of just continued sorting out issues, fixing problems. So there were several cases where you could, aim down sight when you shouldn't be, and that kind of thing. So that much should be a bit better. Several fixes to do with ladders. You could. There was a really interesting bug where if you got on the top of a ladder before getting on the bottom of the ladder, you could sort of move horizontally instead of vertically, and it was all a bit odd. But that's again sorted. Ryan, you've been doing work on lootables and lootable items.
Yeah, also I was just checking I wasn't muted.
No, you're good.
So yeah, we listened to the community a lot about how the whole loot display works. A lot of people are getting confused on how to do certain things, not knowing that there's multiple ways to skin a cat basically. There's two different ways that you can actually loot an item. You can either just tap F on it, or you can hold F on it. Now these do two different things. Tapping F on something will just automatically add all that stuff to your inventory, where holding F will actually, if I go over here, will split it all over the floor, so it's all laying on the floor for you. Now this was a bit hard to understand and get the gist of, because we weren't really displaying what keys you had to press or anything like that. So now we've actually placed a display in the middle of the screen, or slightly lower to the middle, with icons that flash and the representing key that you need to press. Now the icon on the right hand side is what happens when you just press the button, and the icon on the left is what happens when you hold the button. So the two items that you see, icons here that you see flashing, is a vulture, and sort of the other one is like screwed up bits of paper. So that's like scavenging and splitting it open kind of thing. So as you see, I can hold it down, that's split it open. And now everything's uniform with everything you do as well. So items you pick up, anything you loot, or anything like that, it'll all have this sort of like white outline around it. And if you've already looted it, or someone else has already looted it, it will show the icon in the middle of the screen saying you can't scavenge this because it's been looted, and it won't highlight. So that's the sort of like the new changes we've made there.
Yeah. I think I made the point earlier that I think, well, for me, my favourite kind of part about the change is just how everything is now really uniform across all types of loot, all types of interactable items, like even doors. They all kind of have the same iconography and general kind of interaction look. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, we will eventually on just pressing the F, because everything we're sort of like wanting to get everyone's feedback on. So we do a little bit, get feedback, do a little bit more, get some feedback. So when it comes to this, one other thing that I'd like to do is, instead of just being able to run round and instantly loot everything just by pressing F like that, that you actually have a small timer that the character will actually play a small animation to do, and that's what your timer is. You'll be able to break this animation and break the timer if need be, so it won't lock you into the animation, but to represent a timer of opening something, the character will play an animation. But any foliage that you can harvest as well will now show animations, rocks and trees and bushes, and also any kind of rock on the ground to pick up stones. And trash as well. Any trash that you see laying about, you can actually interact with and pick up and use as a harvestable resource.
You're actually pretty close to my house.
I think that's something that a lot of people miss, you know, and hopefully these changes will help kind of indicate that there are items that you can interact with that are just lying around on the floor that you would have perhaps otherwise just walked over. Like this pile of trash here. It's not obvious that you can necessarily interact with the chair, but now you can because it shows you that it's got an icon.
Yeah, we've still got some tweaks to do on this trash. Harvesting this trash, it causes a little bit of a stutter at the moment when you do try and pick it up, but you can pick it up. So bottles like this you'll use for scrap plastic, bicycles and stuff you'll be able to get metal poles and scrap metal from. Bottles you can be able to get glass and also alcohol from to make like health kits and stuff. There's also like crates and that you can find, paint pots that you'll get nails and wood and other thing. But whenever you hover over someone, it'll highlight, and then you'll get this little recycle icon flashed next to F saying you can recycle the item you're looking at for resources. All right, Kix.
Yeah, just about to say hi, Kex. Good to see you.
So yes, now doors will also show icons, and it'll also show a different icon if they are locked and you can't enter them. So if you need like a key card or a key to get in, or even a lockpick to pick your way in, then it'll show the icon.
Yeah. I was going to bring up something else to do with the icons. Oh yeah, we've added a new icon for just to help kind of indicate which button to press, you know, to start activating the quest line. So the button is T to answer the radio. Yeah, okay. So next thing that we've changed, which is sort of important, I suppose, would be the fall height. We've adjusted the fall height now, so you can take a bit more. You can take a bit more of a fall before sort of hurting yourself. The game fixed issue where door properties were not saving. Oh yeah, so there's been quite a few updates to some of the kind of saving and loading in the background. Probably not too visible in the game, but there's just a bunch of things that might be kind of working that weren't working before. So like for example, the objective system. In the last patch, your quest progress wasn't really saving properly, but in this patch, that's all sorted now. So you can save by you can save in the menus or just when you leave, and you should just be able to then start the game again. You'll be able to load your last game and just continue exactly where you were in your quest line. Cool. Well, that's all the. Sorry, that's all the character stuff. We've got so in terms of game, there was been some changes to the cupboards. They were not appearing correctly, and that's in terms of how you loot them. We do have some planned changes for the cupboards after some experimentation. We were talking a bit about what we want to do to help kind of make the cupboards more, improve the interaction with storage and stuff like that. We might, at the moment, when you interact with the cupboard, it's all very the case that you kind of like drag items into the cupboard and then it gets stored, and then you have to click on the item to bring it out. But that's maybe not necessarily the most intuitive way to do it. We might have some UI elements to indicate what to do. Is that fair to say, Ryan? I mean,
yeah, we I think we're gonna try and go a different route with the cupboards. I think that people, the concept of what we went for was really good, but I don't think it's what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't flow right. So what we're going to do is still going to be very similar, where the character will bend down and interact and animations play and stuff like that. But rather than actually have to drag and drop stuff into the actual cupboard itself, we're going to have a UI pop up where the cupboard is on a transparent background. So you'll still be able to see items being added and removed from the cupboard, but you'll have a grid inventory sort of UI to represent placing stuff in there, and I think that'll work a bit better.
Yeah, just give indication of really how you're supposed to use it.
Have a look around, pick what you need.
Yeah, so yeah, there's been just some tweaks there, really just to fix the cupboards, but I would expect, well, you know, we're expecting to make kind of changes to kind of overhaul how you use them a bit more very soon. Righty. Oh yeah, we've added a function for changing the length of the nighttime. It's not something that you can control just at the moment from in the game, but you will be able to. It's a kind of new thing, but it's really just a settings change, but allow you to adjust how long the nights last for. So if you much prefer playing during the day, but you don't want to lose the nighttime experience, you can adjust those properties.
Yeah,
if you want.
You'll never be able to turn the night off completely. It'll be a balance, so you'll just be able to make the nighttime go twice as fast. I think the maximum we're going to end up having it is like four times speed. So, excuse me. So night times at the moment will normally last. They were lasting like 20 minutes, which is huge. That was from the last patch. When we made our complete day and night cycles 40 minutes. So you had 20 minutes a day, 20 minutes a night. So now in this patch what we've done is we've given us the control, and it's doubled speed at night time. So now it's 10 minutes a night, 20 minutes a day. And I think what we'll end up doing is allowing you to go up to 4 times, which will give you 5 minutes a night and 20 minutes a day. Because the night time is still going to be quite important, because there's going to be a certain breeds of special infected, and that will only come out at night. And if you completely turn the nights off, you won't be able to do like hijackings in the night and ambushing and stuff like that at night time.
Yeah.
Got a few questions in the chat that might be worth.
Yeah, go for it.
First one, Chris Keegan says, looks great. Any idea when Mac beta release is scheduled? We got plans for Mac?
Yeah, I want to be releasing on Mac and Linux eventually, but the thing is, why we concentrate so much on the performance of stuff. Obviously, we want to wait until we've got that performance nailed on the heads completely, and then we can start working on OpenGL platform instead of, because at the moment we only actually work with DirectX, and the OpenGL. I can't remember the other Mac.
Oh yeah.
What was it called?
Is it
Vulkan?
I want to say Vulkan.
Is it
Yeah.
Vulkan? Yeah. So we'd have to, obviously, like our landscape textures and shaders don't work with OpenGL whatsoever. So there's a lot of stuff we'd have to make compatible with OpenGL before we start doing that. But it is definitely something we'll do. But I'm afraid it won't be. Yeah, it'll probably be just before we start porting to console that it would come out for Mac and Linux.
Cool. Next question was, will that allow you to rearrange the cupboard? Tim Origer, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, wanted to know. As when you were talking about the cupboards, can you rearrange it in there?
Definitely,
Yeah.
So it would be like a normal way of managing things. Yeah, I think that the whole thing, like I said, it was a nice concept, but it just didn't really pan out as well as we thought. So yeah, that will make it so you can organise your cupboards a lot better.
I imagine it'll operate a bit like a kind of second inventory, you know, in the same way that you can organise your inventory when you press tab. You'd have a similar kind of thing just for the cupboard, and you can arrange it as you wish.
There you go. Gabriel Toth, have you noticed that previously opened doors stay open in loaded games?
Yes, and I believe that is now sorted. As I said, there's been quite a few updates on just some saving and loading things, and I know that doors were one thing that wasn't working properly, and they should now be working just fine.
Cool. And Kick says she sounds like she stumped her toes. You should check if she's okay. Have we got foot health in?
Yeah. We have to put some skulls, foot health stuff. But yeah, she does. That's the thing with the new way we got the NPCs or the enemy NPCs set up. Well, the infected, you know, they sound like they're in pain all the time.
We're coming up to night time, aren't we? So yeah, people will be able to hear the music, which will be good.
I've actually got
If
to
it's
turn
not
it down,
yet.
so let me.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Yeah, let me turn the music up.
It's worth hearing for the atmosphere. That's one of the newest things that we put in. One of the biggest, newest things that's gone in. It makes a big difference how it feels in the night.
It just started actually. It's quick.
Ah.
One thing that I will probably, I know probably no one's asked this question, but one thing that I feel which will make things a lot smoother as well is stopping the character putting their weapons away when going through doors and stuff like that. So you'll be able to open doors with weapons in your hands. I think that's one thing that I'd like to look at doing because, yeah, just need to make everything flow a lot smoother.
I'm so thirsty.
Yeah.
Twisted is happy with the reduced fall damage.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Huh.
Alright then. Well, if that's all the questions at the moment, I'll keep going. Right. So we mentioned the saving and loading, and a couple of bug fixes just on the tutorial quest. The quest system just, I think, is just a bit. I suppose just a couple of sort of smoothing out of a couple of issues really. And yeah, next thing is there's been some adjustments to the look of a couple of the animals in the world. I think Ryan's been working on a couple of sort of shader changes just to the bears and the foxes, just to make them fit the world a bit better. I think they were quite bright before, and it's just sort of like they just didn't quite fit the world. We fixed the rain appearing inside Hanauten houses. That was an issue. There's been some adjustments to fog. I think. Am I correct in thinking that that's quite a significant change to some of the weather?
Yeah, because the way the whole fog thing was working is because we use a post process to heighten the sort of like atmosphere with fog. It was causing a lot of grittiness around the edges of foliage. Especially at night times, you were noticing this because obviously the post process is very bright and being very dark. So I've adjusted it so just it's a lot more atmospheric and it doesn't get as foggy at night time with weather. Only naturally get foggy at night time. If that makes sense.
I'd like to also further add, I believe it was the rain. I noticed, like back in patch 0.1.9, rain, whether if it was day or nighttime, the rain, it's like the color itself. It was always like this white and grayish look, and no matter what time of day it was, it would just override either color for day or night.
Oh, okay. Yes, so it'd make it look like it was nighttime even though it's daytime. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was partially to do with the fog, which was blocking out any lighting that was coming from the sun or moon. That's one other thing that I want to work on next as well is lighting from the night time.
Yeah, it's looking. I mean, it's getting a bit foggy now.
Assuming you found the key.
Sorry?
It looks a bit misty. I was just wondering if it was starting to get foggy.
Yeah, this is just the natural night time, so this is not the weather that's caused this to get foggy like this. The natural day-night system that's caused this, which is using like an atmospheric fog volume rather than post-processing.
Right.
A few more questions.
Sure.
Christina says, Hobby says, are you going to be able to shoot from hip at any point?
Hip fine, yes. That is one thing that I'll probably look into do. We'll probably end up doing that as a bit of a tester, one of the patches. Yeah.
Okay. So, will we be able to buy Valkyrie outfits individually?
Eventually, yes. Once the packages go live. The thing is, we didn't want to start selling the new sort of like DLC alpha exclusive outfits while at the moment you still can't actually access them in the game. So rather than expect you to spend part of your money before you can have them, we're going to wait until you can actually have them. Which on the website I believe it says March.
Can't double check it at the moment exactly. We've got having problems with our website. If you're in our Discord, you'll know this already, but we've had to buy a new server to transfer the stuff over to, so we'll get on that because we're having issues with the current website. But we'll be on that, I think, tomorrow. You said, Ryan, is that one of your to-dos?
Hopefully, yeah.
Next question. Are you going to decorate the houses in camps, or will we be able to do it as we get survivors and build up the camp?
So the houses will all have furniture in eventually as we work our way through. But as you take over a building, if you get permanent or you got enough influence with your local safe zone to be able to take over one of the buildings, you'll be able to then basically recycle all that furniture into resources. So they'll be able to do with the building what you see fit kind of thing.
You'll be able to change each individual room into different bases and stations for doing various different things. Okay. Hey Corey, and hey Karoon as well.
Hello.
Yeah.
A question for Corey here about the, he's asking where are all the zombies. Just at the moment, kind of Ryan's sort of on the outskirts of Hanauten, which is sort of quite near a safe zone. So there's not a high density here. But if you go in further into the middle of Hanauten, there's quite a lot of wanderers wandering around.
There aren't. The whole island and map isn't completely plastered with zombies everywhere. It's a sort of logical placement of zombies. So you'd expect them in towns, but you wouldn't expect them so much out in the countryside, for example.
I'm trying to bypass them a bit until I get decent weapons from Sen's place, but all around the centre of Hanauten is they'll spawn, and up here as well. But the whole idea of it is you don't want to push, but the more noise you make, the more you're going to attract. So people like this, I'll have to take out. But the more gunfire, until silencers are in, you're just going to start attracting more and more. You'll probably hear there's actually an infected screaming. The thing is as well, moving while shooting reduces your accuracy as well, so you have to be careful there as well. So yeah, it's always best to try and avoid them. We do give you plenty of ammo at the moment, so it's not really a thing about ammo. It's just that excuse me. Especially when you get into the bigger towns, there'll be a lot more infected. Especially that they'll horde up into sort of like 20 plus hordes, maybe even more. And you're not going to want to take on those with a pistol. You'll just get totally overrun.
It'll be a whole different thing once we get multiplayer and co-op in. It's gonna change how you might want to use your tactics. At the moment, it's a lot of stealth because they are hard to take out, which is kind of what we want because you like it to be a challenge.
Yeah.
It'll be different when you can play with other people, ambush things, make distractions, that sort of thing. Question from Skiz: when and how to unlock other protagonists, and will there be player creation in the future? That's we've actually had a fairly recent update to that, haven't we?
Yeah. You can answer that one if you want, Scrub.
So player creation, as in the specific. Sorry, I'm specifically regarding. Yeah, well, we've kind of had some changes with our character tools recently. So we've got a lot more control over we've got a lot more capability to quickly add new characters effectively and ones that look good. So in terms of customization, there is a new. Well, I was going to talk about the new package, if that's right to do.
Yeah, you can talk about the new pack.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think it was it meant about that. You will be able to create custom characters and create your own characters, but it will only be in multiplayer. Co-op and single player will be the four protagonists. So as a single player, you'll be able to choose one of the four protagonists to play as, because they'll all have their own little stories as well as the main story. And in cooperative, you'll be able to play with 3 other people, and you can all choose one of the protagonists, so you won't be able to be the same protagonist. And then multiplayer is a different story altogether. You won't be able to be any of the protagonists. It will just be custom created characters. But you can now talk about the additional package now.
Yeah, sorry, I don't think I quite answered the question, but yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, so just kind of on top, we've got access to a really cool new tool which we wanted to start using very soon. It allows us to take the tools that we've already got and combine it with sort of photographs of faces. And it allows us to create faces from those photographs. So you can create a character that looks like a person. So we've now got a new package as part of our offers, where if you so wish, you can in multiplayer have a character that looks like you. So you can send us a picture, and we'll make a character that has the same kind of facial features as yourself.
But it's not just the same facial features. It is an actual. It will be the photograph of your face on the texture.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, it's a kind of recent thing that we're happy with how it's looking. It's good. So I look forward to seeing that in use. And I think the fact that, given that it's kind of multiplayer where you're creating your own characters, it's the kind of thing where you'll be able to sort of actually introduce yourself as a character to other people in the world. I think that's going to be quite cool.
There you go. Karun says, so I want a game with Minecraft type building, 7 Days to Die horde system with DayZ-sized map and graphics. Why did you not make me it?
Well,
there's only a couple of those out there.
Yeah, game's looking very nice so far. That's nice feedback, thank you. Corey says, if you die, where do you respawn? Do you have to run back for your bag, death penalties, etc.?
There's no current death penalties, but what you can do is I will show you now. If you crouch, yep, there you go. You can place a sleeping bag in your shortcuts, and then, if it lets me, is it because I've got a weapon? Hang on, it's probably because I've got a weapon out. I've had a lot of issues with this recently, man. Not being able to place.
Seems so. There you go. Have to give it a look in.
should be able to place a sleeping bag down, but it doesn't look like it's working.
I'm so thirsty.
You should be able to place a sleeping bag down. And then what will happen is they're one-time use, and you will spawn on that sleeping bag. And what we're going to do is introduce a system where you can actually choose what sleeping bag you spawn at. But if you haven't got a sleeping bag, you will spawn back at the boat. And then, unlike the prototype, you will have to run and get your goods back from your body.
You can find your body again with the when you die. There's a mark on the compass, and if you just head in that direction, you'll be able to find your stuff again.
Yeah, so the staff system and the compass at the top. As soon as you respawn, it will say, you know, don't lose your things. We've marked on your staff system your body location is.
There you go. Vic Von Doom's here. Hey, Vic.
Hello. Oh, actually, I'd add to the sorry, just on the previous point about sleeping bags. At the moment, the sleeping bag is something that you've got in your inventory, which is not necessarily quite what we want to do with it in the near future. A bit like the campfire is now part of the building system. I guess we're kind of starting to put placeables, kind of like things like furniture and other sort of placeables, kind of all in the same system. So it will be just part of the basic survival tab. So you can put down a sleeping bag, like survival, put down a campfire, and you can kind of construct them where you want. So it's not going to be something that you necessarily have to craft and have in your inventory and then have to place. It's just that you can build with resources, and hopefully that'll be a little bit smoother.
Funny feeling you're going to get back up.
Double tap.
Oh yeah.
Will we be adding drivable vehicles? Yes, drivable, armorable, upgradable.
Absolutely.
It's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
Lots of plans for that already. Some stuff already made, it's just not in the game yet.
Change my fire mode.
Thanks for dropping by, Vic. We'll see you soon.
Tim, how will that face feature handle big burly beards?
Great big bushy beards.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's a terrible shot. Come on.
Don't blame your terrible aim on the character.
It's not. Yeah, well worked with beards. Sorry, I can't talk.
Yeah, gotta get them lumberjack and Viking beards.
How big are we talking?
If you're talking ZZ Top, then maybe not.
I'm just going to rush through a few other questions because I'm getting left behind by chat here. Where do we get to? Mayhem, you said, has the idea of the main story changed? I'm guessing you mean story, and what is the idea for end game? What do you mean by that exactly?
It's an ideal one for you, that is.
It is. The main story hasn't changed. No, it's still the same concept. That you are a survivor of a global outbreak, and you have to unravel some of what's happened. I don't want to give too much away in terms of what the story is, but yes, there's still going to be a lot of depth to the story, and it's the same concept we've been working with all along. Stuff's been added. We still want it to feel like a living world, so you'll encounter stuff wherever you go. The tutorial quest that's in at the moment is the first proper quest thing that we put in, and that was a sort of trial run for how that was going to work. So we'll be building on that and the other things. At the moment, there's not the option to have interactive dialogue. It's just radio quests given, but that's going to be a thing as we go forward as well. So yeah, I hope, does that answer your question? Oh, Royal's here. Hey, Royal.
Just gonna say, good to see you.
Thanks for joining us. Good question from Michael. What's the square mileage of the sandbox?
We
have
it's
counted.
about 63.7 square kilometers.
Oh, did you? Cheers. Oh, so you did a bit further down.
Oh,
Thanks,
fantastic.
mate.
Yeah, we also have Tim asking what the STRV system.
Very good question. I guess I'll try and answer. So the STRV or STARV system is the wristwatch that Amy has, and it does it's sort of like a tool. It can tell. It allows other people on the island to tell her vitals and her location, and you'll be able to also have some other functionality as well. So that's how she's able to keep track of her vitals, and how other NPCs are going to be able to keep track of her, and that kind of thing.
That is something that every player that you encounter on the island will have one of those, including the NPCs as well, for the most part. The reason being is that initially when you start the game, the reason you're there is because you've been taken under the pretense of being looked after and taken to a safe place. You've been experimented on by the pharmaceutical company that essentially caused the outbreak in the first place. They fit all of their subjects with one of these watches so they can keep track of what's going on with them. STRV stands for Subject Tracking and Real-Time Vitals. So it's their way of monitoring you, but it becomes a useful tool as you go through the game, not just for what they were using it for, but you can add to it, you can upgrade it. There are things you'll be able to do with it during the game, including if you get high enough integrity, being able to track other players and things like that. So it's going to be quite a useful tool with a lot of things you can do with it.
Yeah, it's going to end up having a lot of functionality. You'll be able to upgrade it, take to safe zones, and install new apps on it. That's how the map system will work. So you'll eventually be able to speak to someone in the safe zone that will install a map system on it. It will then also flash different colours and stuff like that to indicate what kind of integrity you've got. Because sorry.
I think that's worth expanding on. If you meet someone in the wilderness and their STRV is flashing red or something, then you know that they're a person with low integrity, and that means that they've been killing lots of other players or doing things that they shouldn't really be doing. So it's your kind of first way of telling how safe other players might be.
Yeah, it's one of the an issue that we've had with survival games in the past, and we've said this a lot of times before, but to anyone that's joined us relatively recently, is that there's a lot of kill on sight. So games like, I'm quite a big fan of DayZ, for example. Like I really like that game, but the fact that when you encounter people, quite a lot of the time they'll just kill you, and there's not a lot of interaction. We're putting in a lot of stuff to discourage and penalise people if they have that kill on sight attitude. So this starve system and the early warning you get with it being red, for example, and the fact that you can identify where other players are if they've got low integrity is all part of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mayhem, will Endgame be able to be like a free play, or does the game just end?
Take a look around and see what
I see.
tools
Yeah, no, you can carry on playing. You don't have to play the story at all. If what you want is a survival game, you could just play for survival. You don't have to follow the stories. That goes for single player, co-op, and multiplayer. Although you'll find that if you're playing co-op and multiplayer, that the island will change around you as other people complete the story. So certain things might change in safe zones, or new quests might become available. You might encounter new kinds of NPCs depending on what other players are doing. But if you don't want to play the story, you don't have to. And if you get to the end of the story, yes, you can go back and you can play. You can still just survive.
Yeah. You can even just turn off your radio if you don't want to get any incoming communication. If you want to block yourself off from NPCs, that's fine.
Yes, you can turn off the radio by literally just pressing your Y, and that'll flip through the different channels, frequencies of the radio. Does someone want to elaborate on why there's multiple channels?
Sure. So different NPCs will try to communicate with you, often by radio, to give you new quests, for example. And as you meet different people, those people might be using different radio frequencies. So, for example, you might meet one NPC who will always contact you on one frequency. You might meet another that will always contact you on another. So if you really want to just talk to one NPC, you're really interested in one particular kind of quest line that you want to follow, you can just stick your radio on that frequency, and you'll get sort of updates from that person. If you want to switch it up, you can change out your frequency, or if you just don't want a quest at all for the moment, then you can just turn your radio off altogether. So it's your way of controlling which quests you want to do, and your quest objectives will change depending on which frequency you're on.
Skiz, yeah, in answer to what Paul said under there, yes, it's the 79.99 version that gives you and have that on your player.
While you're on the move, I'll explain your Starve Watch, because I doubt it was explained to you while you were being held at the prison. Starve stands for Subject Tracking and Real-Time Vitals. Thanatos use them on all their test subjects to keep track of where they are and how the subject is reacting to where
Sir Vega here, sorry, I hope that's how it's pronounced, is asking if at some point you could show how to use a campfire. Which I think might be a good idea.
Good thing to demonstrate, yeah.
You're not wearing one, and
Oh, Mayhem also just pre-ordered your game and can't wait to play. Thank you for making an amazing game. It's a pleasure.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for the support, mate.
If you have the tech, you can install
Hope you enjoy it. Let us know. Do you use Discord? And if you do, hop on and let us know how you get on with it.
I know why it wouldn't let me place down that sleeping bag earlier.
Yeah?
No building zone.
Yes. that was just a bit too obvious, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Jason did say that in the chat. I just didn't read it out loud. Sorry.
I did hear
He said,
oh, thank you, Jason. Yeah. So yeah, that's probably worth talking about. So you can't build in the middle of towns. That's something you need permission for. So this is to kind of owning property and towns is something that you need to have enough integrity to do. And so it's important that you can't just build your own structures in the middle of towns without, proper approval from the local safe zone or something like that. But you're welcome to build anywhere out in the wilderness. So as you can see, Ryan's right on the border of Fnaughton, and when he goes into the green, it's blocked, but on the beach, he's good to build. And there is a pop-up as well. We just didn't see it.
Yeah, wasn't paying attention.
We were just too busy talking.
Do you want to talk them through what you're doing there, Ryan?
Yeah, so with the campfires, at the moment it sort of pings you to a location. Hang on, let me just sort of drink out. Yeah, it currently pings you to a location. What we're doing, we are actually going to patch that so you can interact with the campfire wherever you stand, because it's like throwing people outside of their buildings and stuff like that. So to interact with everything, F does everything. If you want to do it, F it. So basically,
words to live by.
Yeah, F will action something, and holding F will interact with something. So by just tapping F, I can turn the fire on and off. You will eventually need fuel and a source to light it, but being sandbox-y kind of thing, we've taken these kind of things out. Like in the prototype, you needed fuel to be able to light it. Now, if I hold F, the character will go into it. Is this going to work? Yeah. And then you just drag and drop items onto it. So if I now drag and drop some cooked meat on there, it will now put up to 4 or 5 bits of cooked meat. And then to come out, you have to hold F again. By pressing F, you'll get stuck in it. It won't work. But we will end up modifying that as well, so you don't have to do that. So the way that this works is you don't actually have to interact. Once your meat's cooked, you'll be able to see that the mesh on the top will actually turn into what looks like a cooked bit of meat. So you'll be able to just go up to it and press F on it and pick that one bit of meat up and carry on doing what you want to do. Then if you want to put some more meat on it, you just then take over and drop, and there we go. That'll put more meat on there. And that's basically how you cook meat on a fire. It has got logic in it to sterilise water and stuff with using a spit, a tripod and a cooking pot. And you'll be able to cook soups, add recipes to it, sterilise water, and so on, and do certain things. But at the moment, the only thing you can do with a campfire is stand by and keep warm, use it as a light source, and cook meat on it. But yeah.
I think what bemuses me most about the campfire every time I see meat cooking on it is just that one of the most sort of prevalent, long-lasting bugs that we've had in the project as a whole is just the jumbo meat issue, where meat has historically always been way too big whenever you pick it up and stuff like that.
Yeah, no,
It's
I think
sorted now, but
yeah, it's fixed now. But yeah,
it's just always bemusing to watch Amy pick up like a piece of meat as big as her own arm and just pocket it.
the jumbo meat, yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
For quite a long time. But as you can see now, yeah, that's cooked meat. And then what will happen is if you do leave it on there too long, it will burn. But you can still consume burnt meat. It just won't give you as much nutrition as cooked meat. But
In fact, if I remember, your hydration goes down if you eat cooked meat.
if you eat
Burnt meat rather.
yeah, if you eat burnt meat, the hydration go down because obviously it's very charcoaly and stuff. But I'll leave that bit on there so it goes a bit burnt just to show you.
Gameology News have joined us. Hey guys.
Oh, hiya.
Hey
Thanks for joining.
guys.
It says, good job guys, thanks man. And Mayhem says, meat is just a turkey leg. It currently is just a turkey leg. As we go on, it'll expand. We'll get various things that you can get, which will give you different.
I'm going to be honest, I don't know many turkeys that have like legs that size.
Should-
I mean, it would be a big old turkey.
I think what it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be based on like a deer. It was just a placeholder that Chris has put in for now. The thing is with our 3D artist, that does
Thanks for joining us. Yes.
good chunk of the assets in the world is he doesn't work on what's the word I'm not for, Scrub?
Organic.
Organics?
Yeah, organic stuff. So this is just something that he made for now, so we had some kind of meat.
Well, that's pretty good, even for, you know.
Yeah, but if you want to check to see if a bit of meat's cooked or anything like that, you can just go in there and that'll actually hover over it, and that'll tell you if it's cooked or burnt and what hunger it'll give you. And excuse me. Yeah. There you go, burnt meat. That's it. Just turn this off. I think one fix that's been done now as well is the fact that you can't take a grill if there's meat on it. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. It used to be that you could take the grill out even if you had meat cooking on top.
But it's always
Sort of strange things like that.
It's always best to take your grill with. I'm not too sure. Can it be removed with a remove tool yet?
It can, I believe.
So look, it can.
It's a
While
building
you're looking
item
at
now,
that.
so...
Fear X14 Gaming, hey, says, will there be long pause, also known as cannibalism?
Not something that I thought of.
Is that something you're keen on?
A bit like they do in like Scum, chopping the bodies up and
Like
stuff
the
like
forest and stuff.
that. And the forest.
Do it in Daisy
yeah.
as well.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh.
I suppose it's realistic, but do we really want that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's going to be, you know, again, any suggestions you want to make, you can make in Discord, and if we feel that they'll end up fitting with the game, we may look into doing them or making our own suggestions on what to do, or what we're going to do, our own version of it, kind of thing.
I mean, certainly everything's up for debate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to talk about something, and it's gone.
Mayhem says, just do the game how you want, that's what I want to play it at all. Yeah, thanks.
Well, that's it. We've got a clear. We've got a clear.
You would eat people.
But I would eat people.
we have got a clear sort of vision of what we want the game to be, and we're all for taking on suggestions and any feedback that you got, and a lot of things that we've changed is due to your feedback, and they wouldn't be the way they are now if it wasn't for the feedback. Like the whole looting system and stuff like that. It's. But yeah, we have to. We got to stick true to exactly what we want to do, what we plan to do.
I mean, something that I think is kind of missing at the moment, which I think is going to be a really important part of the game long term, certainly, is being able to get meat and stuff off animals.
Animals hunting, yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the nexus when we start adding or sorting the melee combat out a lot better. Because at the moment it's not the best. But as soon as we start concentrating more on the melee and stuff, we'll add in bows and hunting knives and stuff like that, so you'll be able to actually hunt properly and stuff like that.
I might even go as far as to say it's dearly missing.
Oh
no.
I'm sorry, you give me a platform of people to project myself onto, so...
I can't bear it when you make those jokes.
It's a first at the start, isn't it?
I like we did that.
Thanks.
Oh no, we're both on it. It must be we're getting near the end of the stream.
Dazzler says, "Grats on getting to the public alpha. Been a backer since the beginning. Downloading now. Thanks for your support for such a long time. It's 3 years now. I think it's been going, isn't it? But thereabouts.
It's been in development for just over 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only been publicly available for just over a year with the prototype, I think it was. And then we released the private alpha, which is the full open world, back in
November 30th last year.
November, yeah. Just
Oh,
before
man.
Christmas.
Good memory.
Now that you're relatively safe, it seems like a good time for some bushcraft training. I can teach you how to
Yeah, one of the
bandage.
changes of this patch, which hopefully will help with performance, certainly, is changes to the way in which the world randomly loads and that kind of stuff. So there was quite a bit of stuttering moving between areas in the map, and certainly it's hopefully been reduced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've only had one bit of stutter since I started this session.
That's good. So yeah, just trying out a new technique, really.
Yeah, everything is not finalised yet. Crafting. That's what we need to do. Bandage.
Tim said, #blame scrub. That's always
Yeah.
worth remembering. Yeah.
Okay, looks like you have
And any problems, any issues that anybody has with the game,
Just blame
anything
scrub.
to do with the game, yeah, blame scrub.
It's
That's
XP! We need XP. He's the one to come up with that.
oh, was-
Yeah.
He was, yeah.
on in the safe zones at the moment. They were set up by the military, but things aren't going very well. With no communication from central government, some of the soldiers have started acting like dictators, and it was chaos when people were moved east from their...
Gary Daniels, is there multiplayer yet? No, we were just chatting about that earlier. Not yet,
communication from them soon.
but it's going to be a big thing when it does come in, and we are working on it.
You won't be allowed in the safe zones. Soldiers will probably shoot you on sight. Try and survive for now.
Christiana says, we both think the game looks and sounds good. Seems you have some good plans for the future. Tk you. They're quite big plans, but it's worked out well so far with the big plans. Gameology. Does the flashlight attract enemies?
It doesn't specifically attract the enemies at the moment. Some things, yeah, it will. Like some things do. Like your footsteps to some extent will kind of attract a bit of attention.
Yeah, looting, opening doors and stuff like that. That all attracts attention.
At the moment, the predominant way in which you're going to get seen or heard, maybe, is just really through line of sight. And yeah, as Ryan says, the flashlight will definitely be a big kind of element of sort of stealth and sort of like aggro's with AI. I mean, the flashlight itself has actually just had a bit of an update, just in terms of its visibility. It's now a lot more bright and kind of more. It makes the world a bit more visible around now. But yeah.
So thirsty.
But there we go. That's One thing I also did in this patch was reduce the amount it rains by 25%, and this is the first time it's rained.
Yeah.
That's true. Ryan was telling me earlier that he had just reduced the percentage chance and started playing, and then the first thing he did was rain. So just Ryan's luck.
Fletcher says, "Can you become infected in the game?" I'll take that one if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
No, you can't, and it's not been said much, but it is a fact that all of the players, the person you play as, is immune. So whether it's single player, co-op, or multiplayer, you're immune to the infection. That's the reason that you were taken initially by the large pharmaceutical company and brought to this place. They gathered up all of the immune so they could test them to find out how they were immune in order to try and find a sort of cure or vaccine. So there you go, sort of snippet there of the story. And Dazzler says, "Game looks to have changed a lot since the prototype." Yeah, it has, mate. The prototype was only ever supposed to be sort of a technical demonstration, basically, of what we were aiming for.
Yeah, it was just a proof of concept. It was something that we put together to show everyone what we wanted to achieve, and that we weren't just going for the bog standard survival game. We wanted to have story element. We wanted to have lots of different types of NPC that you'll meet. Because one of the next NPC that I'll be going in very soon is the mercs and soldiers. So there'll be NPCs that fire back at you.
That's going to change things quite a lot.
Yes.
How you play.
Sure.
And then once that enemy are in, you'll also then be able to, you'll have the interactive NPCs in safe zones and stuff like that. You'll be able to talk to and trade with and get quests from, or even join on quests. So it's all you can visit our roadmap on our website when it decides it wants to work. And it's got the majority of stuff that we've got planned currently, and as we sort of like get further towards something else, we'll update it. But we do try and keep stuff up to date as possible. Why have these suddenly started to do this?
The highlight?
Yeah, highlight's totally changed.
Oh, bizarre.
It's bizarre. I wonder what did that.
Well, maybe you should hit F1 and add it to the bug tracker.
Yeah, F1. Looting.
Which is something that is great now, because for anyone who doesn't know, if you find a bug, you can hit F1 and tell us about it.
F it.
Exactly.
F1 it. Everything's F. You got to F everything.
Fear, I really like that part of the story that we're immune. Always found that you get infected but able to cure yourself rather odd. Like, why didn't everyone else before they became zombies? Yeah, I really hate it when things just don't make sense in a story. Those plot holes, I think it changes how immersive a game can feel. Dazzler says, "Oh yeah, I totally get it was a proof of concept. It's just reassuring to see how far you brought the game forward from that. Gives me confidence in the team." Yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks.
I mean,
it's a point of oh, sorry.
No, go on, you go.
I was only going to just quickly say that as a point of interest, the place in which you were at in the prototype, that is some way that you can be able to visit in the broader world. It's an island that exists, so you will still be able to check it out. Might have a bit of a a bit of an update to it, but yeah, it's a physical location even now.
Yeah. Hawk Along says, "Are there any urban areas? Is the map based on a real world setting?" So yes, there are towns, cities, villages, as well as other sort of points of interest. Like there'll be train stations. There's a train line that runs around the island that will have a running train on it at some point. That sort of thing. So there are loads of different kinds of setting that you can find yourself in. It's not just one thing. It's also not got that sort of biome feel that some games have, where things dramatically change from one place to another. So yeah, and is the map based
Maybe
on
I'll
a
find
real-world
something
setting? Not exactly. Little known fact: the prison on the island is based on the Rock, Alcatraz, and so Eden the Deer, being just north of Lockcrest Prison, is loosely based on the landscape near to Alcatraz, but only very loosely. If you look at it on Google Maps, there are some similarities. But overall, I mean, this is something that Ryan has sort of hand sculpted pretty much the entire island bit by bit. So it's not actually based on any reality.
No, there's a lot of mixed sort of what's the word I'm looking for? I'm terrible at words. Cultures. A lot of British culture set in an American stylized world in a way, because yeah, we're sort of like Eden Adair is based around United States of America, but being a British developer that's never visited America, I don't know.
Yeah, we're quite lucky to have American mods. They've been really
Yes, they have.
Yeah, super insightful.
yeah.
But yeah, I think we'll start wrapping stuff up. If there's any other questions before we do go.
LeoDX1 says, so excited to play this game. Possibly the most important question we've had in the whole stream. Gameology news: is Nicolas Cage on top holding flares? Could be the best. Not yet.
LeadX1 is my son, by the way.
Right. I did wonder about
Harrison, get to bed.
If we can have a hashtag Harrison go to bed in the chat, that'd be great.
Yeah.
These are some of the nice new walls that Chris has been working on.
Yeah, I think he's done a really good job. They look a bit
Yeah, they
stretched,
look good, don't they?
stretched at the moment. I don't know why. Is that that's the view? Or...
Yeah. Harry's song. Wow. It's become official, just like that.
No spelling judgment. 22J Lee, when will it hit Steam? That's something I chatted a bit earlier on. It's not going. We're not putting it on Steam yet. Part of the problem that we have that seems to crop up quite a lot of the time for indie games that try to make it on Steam is that if you go onto Steam too soon, the game gets destroyed by negative reviews, because a lot of the time these days people don't seem to fully understand sometimes that when a game is in alpha, you're going to have to expect bugs and issues, and so they play the game and then they find that that there are some buggy things that don't work, or it's not as smooth as they want it to be, and so the game never has a chance to make it properly because it just gets put down before it can get anywhere. So we're keeping it. If you buy it via the website, you get a Steam key so you can download it on Steam still. But until we're happy that the game is solid enough for us to put it on Steam and for the game to make it on Steam, it won't be on Steam. But it is something that's on the horizon. Like, we're working towards it.
Yeah, we might probably go into like Steam early access as we sort of get into sort of like the multiplayer element of it. So there's a lot more options for people to play, and by that time a lot of the performance issues and a lot of the bugs will be fixed and will be on the straight and narrow kind of thing towards the end goal. So then we might then put it on Steam Early Access, but we'll also be releasing on other platforms as well. We don't know about Discord or Epic Store yet, but we are going to be available on the Abyss, which is a new platform that's coming out, and also Robot Cache, which is also a new platform that is coming out very soon.
There you go. Christiana says people forget you need to walk before you can run, and some people want everything straight away. Yeah, that's kind of it.
That's it. Yeah, we wanted to concentrate more on the bug fixing rather than the really trolly negative feedback. We know we're going to get negative feedback, and you know, if it's going to help us make a better game, then you know we entice it. But giving us negative feedback with no reason why you've given that feedback is not going to help us make it any better, or even assist you in making your experience better. So that's why we're kind of staying away from the Steam Early Access kind of thing for now. Can you jump on top of the light pole? Shall I see? I'll probably end up hurting myself. What? She didn't like that.
I think my stream's a bit behind.
Yeah, it is.
Hawk along. Is the infection limited to just humans, or are there zombie? Yeah, it is limited to humans. Animals, and you'll find that the infected leave animals alone because they know that what they're looking for is a host. So sadly, no zombie hamsters. Although we do have that penciled in as our next game. Once we finish this one, it's Hamsters of Extinction.
Of the same title, yeah.
Pause of Extinction.
That's not a nice way to die.
That looked painful.
That did. Oh, we get to check out the respawning.
Yes.
So something nice.
Fingers crossed for no cat boxes.
Cat boxes.
Loot
Oh,
laying
good grief.
all around you.
See them in my sleep.
So this is what, before we go, you saw just on the screen just here that the pop-up happens when you die, and it leaves a little icon on your screen telling you where you can go to get your body and how far away it is. Yeah.
Ryan, can you check your inventory right now?
But
Your inventory.
Yeah.
I have. You just got to wait for the stream to catch up.
Yeah, there's a bit of there's
right.
like a 5-second delay on the stream.
What am I looking for?
I think it's just pointing out
Just
that
how you have stuff in your inventory. Is that intentional for now?
Yeah, it's. I think that's how you got it set up, isn't it, Scrub?
yeah, it's probably not how it should be really now, but yeah, it's working as intended. But yeah, they shouldn't necessarily keep regain a sort of start even.
No, not once
Yeah.
you died. No, I know what you're saying. But I suppose,
It's
at,
Go on,
the, at the moment, if you die over one side of the map and it does respawn you all the way back somewhere, and you can't get to your body, at least then all you got to do is get weapons again, and you can you carry
Yeah.
on with what you got.
All that being said, I mean, the reason you have some stuff in your moment, we wanted to encourage a sort of sandbox element for testing, and so that people could actually kind of play the game, try out the building mechanics and all that kind of stuff. As the game is being developed further, the amount of stuff you start with is going to be probably dialed back to the point where you're probably not really going to start with anything, because then you to play the game you kind of have to go out into the world, collect wood and nails and all these kinds of bits and pieces.
Hey, Nicole's here. Hey, Nicole.
Hello.
For those of you who don't know, Nicole is the Amy,
She's the voice of Amy, yes.
and an excellent voice indeed.
But yes. I think we'll wrap that up now. Thanks everyone for coming along.
It's been lovely to see everyone.
Yep. Hey, stop raining. Just
Perfect
time.
time.
Look at that.
Just
Yeah,
as it's
thanks
not
for your
raining.
support.
Bright
Yeah.
horizons on the future.
It's a miracle.
Now this is like one of the vehicles that you'll be able to... Oh, there you go. See, look at that. Ideal. Watch this. Ready? And poop.
Good grief. Are you...
There's no collision on it.
Oh.
No, guys.
Yeah.
Right, Ryan's
Right
gone
then.
off on a tangent, so thank you for joining us, guys, and for all your support.
Yeah.
Hey, Ron. Good seeing you.
Thanks.